Brought to you by GatewayCitySavers.com.
In or Out with Jim Hanifin and Rick Venturi, exclusively on 101ESPN.com. Now your host, Brian Stahl.
Hello and welcome back to 101ESPN.com with Tony Softli and Rick Venturi. I'm Brian Stahl, and it's time for this week's edition of In or Out. Gentlemen, the Rams dug themselves in a pretty deep hole by losing to Kansas City this past week. They now must win both of their remaining games to make the NFL postseason. Are you in or out that this will happen, Tony, and the Rams will be NFC West champions?
You know what? I'm in, and I went on the record saying they needed to win all three. I think they are in a situation now with Seattle losing, San Francisco losing, that they need to win these two. But I'm going to stick with them to win the NFC West. I think Sam Bradford's going to settle down. He's going to get back in that comfort zone. He's going to deliver through the air. You're going to see Steven Jackson carry this team on his back, in the run game. And the defense, I think, will rise to the occasion these last two games and put them in postseason play.
All right, what do you think, Coach? In or out that the Rams win the NFC West?
I'm in on this one. I knew that New Orleans and Kansas City would be tough. I called them opportunity games. I pretty much felt it would come down to these two. You got to control your own division. I'm very much like Tony. I think that basically the Rams are the best operation of the three. I think they're the best operation coaching-wise. I think they've got certainly enough talent, certainly the best quarterback. And, there have been injuries, but still the key guys are there. So I really believe that they will win it and finish this thing outright.
Speaking of key guys, Mike Singletary, the key guy in San Francisco, the head coach, leading the 49ers to a disappointing 5-9 record thus far in the season. Rick, are you in or out that in 2011 Singletary remains the head coach of the 49ers?
Well, I'm out. I don't think he will be the coach. He's had some moments. He'll get his team ready to play. They'll be ready to play, but they've had a lot of issues. They going through the coordinators, which then in some ways has had an effect on the quarterbacks. I don't think anybody knows how good those quarterbacks are, really. But when you have that dysfunction at quarterback and you just can't get it done. And I think the thing that Mike suffers from was the perception of that team. The perception of that team is it's very, very talented. I've had that on me before. I know what that feels like. And so I think because of the perception and because the Rams are going to beat them this Sunday, I think he doesn't make it.
All right. In or out, Tony, that Singletary is the head coach of the 49ers next year?
Samurai Mike is out. And you know what? Too much disarray in the head office, too much disarray on the football team. He's firing coaches mid-season. Coaches are quitting. At the disarray in the locker room, the dysfunction on discipline, on TV and practice, throwing players out of practices. There's just too much going on in the organization and with that football team for Mike to have another chance. And even if they beat the Rams on Sunday, they win their last game and they go into postseason play, I still don't think it'll be enough.
All right, final topic. Should the Rams lose one of their last two? Should they lose both of their last two games? Is this still a successful season? Are you in or out that regardless of how the next two play out, the Rams successful in 2010? There's
no question. I am in that they have been super successful. I thought they'd be 5-11 was my guess going into the season with my predictions. They have the franchise quarterback. They have a Pro Bowl running back. They have a defense that they need to build on, and they need to get some more weapons around Sam Bradford. But this has been a super successful season. He's played very well, he and Sam Bradford. And you know what? Steve Spagnuolo's system is now in place. They just need to continue to build that championship foundation by getting talent, and more talent.
Yeah, again, not to be premature, but regardless of how the last two games play out, in or out the 2010 a success for the Rams?
I think it's a success. I think it's I think it's a season of growth, definitely growth. As Tony said, certainly when you have a franchise quarterback who has now proven himself to be that in place, and you see a lot of developments of success. I don't think they can hover on it. I think they've got to say that this is a growth period, but it's still mediocre in terms of the overall season, and they have to shoot for that next step. But certainly to go from 1-15 to move up the ladder is a good year.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's edition of In or Out. Don't forget, pregame for the Rams and the 49ers begins at 9 o'clock right here on 101 ESPN. For Tony Softli, for Rick Venturi, I'm Brian Stahl. That's going to do it for this week's edition of In or Out, and we are out.